Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Executive Leadership Council's Power of Women at Work 2025 Know Before You Go session. My name is Ramian Pierre, and I'm part of the ELC team that produces POW 2025, and I'm so excited to help you prepare and get the most out of this year's program. Now, I'm located in Baltimore, Maryland, and I'm just always curious where other people are coming in from. So if you could just take a moment and drop into the chat what city you're from, where you're coming in, and also do me a favor and just mute your mics so that we don't get any feedback. But I'd love to hear where people are coming from as I ask production to start sharing slides. All right, welcome Washington, DC, just my neighbor to the south. You saw the flurries today, I'm assuming. Dallas, welcome. Charlotte, thank you so much for being here. Oh, more than one person in Charlotte. Opportunities are already being created for connections to be made. New Haven, Kingsport, excellent. I'm so glad you all could be here. We are recording today's session for folks who aren't able to join us, and we're going to make it available in a number of different ways. We'll put it on the attendee portal inside our registration site. We will send it to all of our corporate partners that bought groups. We will email it out to everyone who's registered. And in the communications that you'll be getting in the final, say, 3 or so weeks before POW, you'll see links to this Know Before You Go session. So if you missed anything, do not fret. You will have opportunities to hear it again and to share. And always, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact us at the ELC at institute@elcinfo.com. All right, let's jump right in. Production, can we go to the next slide? All right, so by the end of this Know Before You Go session, you're going to understand several things. You're going to know what POW is and why it's important. You're going to understand all the components of POW and how they fit together. You'll learn who's speaking at POW and all the leadership development topics on which we will focus. And you're going to learn how to prepare to access the POW platform. I'll also share some frequently asked questions and give you the opportunity to ask questions live. So let's begin. All right, let me start by talking just a little bit about the Executive Leadership Council for those who might not be familiar with who we are and what we do. The ELC is a member-based and nonpartisan 501c3 organization. We're based in Washington, DC, but we have members working nationally and internationally. Our mission is simple. We want to build an inclusive global business leadership pipeline, and that's not just lip service. We developed our organizational tagline, The Power of Inclusive Leadership, more than a decade ago. And throughout our entire 39-year history, the ELC has opened channels of opportunity for Black executives to positively impact their communities, their companies, as well as their careers. Many leadership development programs, all of which are open to any corporate professional seeking to develop their leadership skills and grow their impact, even in business environments where they might be one of the only or one of the few. Now, POW in particular focuses on the experiences of female corporate professionals, and POW sessions provide attendees with business-proven strategies and tactics they can apply starting the next day to amplify their business impact and career success. Let me walk you through a little bit about how POW is structured. One moment. POW is structured as a full day experience. We start the day with optional career acceleration workshops. The core of the day are 8 sessions that center on our 4 content pillars: business acumen, change leadership, communication, and influence. And for each one of those 4 pillars, there are 2 sessions that are being offered. Each session is 45 minutes long and is conducted in a fireside chat style with some time for live Q&A. Now, one of those 2 sessions for each pillar focuses on the experiences of individual contributors, and the second one focuses on the experiences of people leaders. Both sessions happen at the same time, so you'll have to choose between whether you want to go to track A sessions, which focus on individual contributors, or track B sessions, which focus on people leaders. But don't fret because we're recording everything and you can come back to it later. Now, between each of the sessions, we have 15-minute micro-learning breaks. And then in the middle of the day, we have a curated networking session where we're hoping all participants will gather and engage with one another. More details on that in the weeks right before POW. And we close the day by bringing all the participants from both tracks together for our closing main stage speaker. So let's talk about which sessions you should attend. And production brought me to the correct slide, so we'll stay here for a moment. I'm sorry, let's just go back one. Yeah, great, perfect. POW is a choose your own adventure experience where you can attend sessions from whichever track you want. We encourage you to review the session descriptions. I'll go over them briefly in this presentation, but go over the session descriptions and the speakers and make an informed choice, not just based on your current position, but consider your developmental goals and consider if you want to network with people interested in one speaker versus another. That said, track A sessions explore each of our 4 content pillars through the lens of individual contributors who are seeking to expand their influence and impact regardless of whether they have positional authority. And our track B sessions explore those same 4 content pillars through the lens of people leaders who are not just looking to be effective managers of people and things, but leaders of teams and business units. Now, even though you'll have to make a choice about how you spend your time on March 25th, your choice is not fatal. All POW sessions, as I said, are recorded, and you will be able to go back to the POW platform for up to 30 days after the event and rewatch any of the sessions you attended or explore sessions that you missed. Let's go to the next slide because I'm going to talk through the schedule. So here is a visual representation of that schedule I just talked you through. And now all of these times are Eastern time. You can see the day starts with the optional career acceleration workshops. At 11:10, we have our opening remarks, and then we immediately dive into our 45-minute long fireside chat sessions. You'll see the micro-learning breaks for 15 minutes in between. At 1:15 p.m., you'll see we have our curated virtual networking session, which will take place in the POW 2025 Networking Lounge. And then after that, sessions and micro-learning breaks continue until 4:10, when we have our closing remarks and introduce our main stage speaker. Now let me show you our track A session descriptions. All of these are available on the registration website. I'm not going to go into depth here or read this slide to you, but I do want to point out, you can see from the titles on the left, in parentheses underneath each title, you can see the content pillar that we're focusing on in that session. They'll be the same for track A and track B: business acumen, change leadership, communication, and influence. So we're excited about all of these sessions, and they're all conducted in a fireside chat format with a moderator and a speaker. Let's look at the track B sessions. Same structure, 45 minutes, fireside chat, moderator and speaker, subject matter expert. You can again see those same 4 business 10 pillars, and you can see the description here. Again, these are all available on the ELC's website and the ELC registration website for POW. Let's go to the next slide, because I want to talk about Hubelo Access. POW 2025 is taking place or is being hosted by the Hubelo platform. And we just want to make sure you have as smooth an experience as possible technically, so that it doesn't get in the way of your learning and development and networking. So here's how you will get access to the platform. On Tuesday, March the 18th, you should expect an email from noReply@hubeloevents.com. I really want to draw your attention to the website, to the email address, so that you can check to make sure that you actually receive it. If you were registered by your company, or if you use the company email address, it might be a good idea to let your company's IT professionals know that you'd like them to safe list that particular email address. Our experience has found that some participants, when they use their work email address to register and they're in a regulated industry like the financial sector, for incredibly good reasons, their email might be very well safeguarded and they might not get the access email. We want to make sure you get it. So again, you'll get that email on March 18th. If you don't receive it, please, please, please contact us at institute@elcinfo.com and we'll make sure that you get all set. Now, once you get that email, you need 3 things to activate your access to the POW platform. You'll need the link in the email. That's number 1. Number 2, you'll need the email address you use to register for POW. And number 3, you'll need the POW 2025 password, which is here on the slide. It's just POW 2025, one word. So as long as you have those 3 things, you should be all set. And we encourage you strongly to activate your access the day you receive the link. That way there won't be any access issues on March 25th. We want to troubleshoot all of those in advance. If you have any issues activating your access to the POW platform, if you don't receive the activation email, again, please let us know by emailing us at institute@elcinfo.com. Let's go to the next slide. I'll say a little bit more about Hubelo, and then we'll get into the POW content itself. So the Hubelo platform is web-based, which means you don't have to download any software to your computer. And while Hubelo supports all browsers, we find our participants have the best experience if they use Chrome. Additionally, we have found participants will have a better experience if their VPN is deactivated. If you don't use VPN, then you're all set. But if you normally use a VPN to access the internet, we have found that VPN and Hubelo don't work well together. So please do your best to deactivate it if you can. Now, once you're on the platform, you can navigate anywhere you want in terms of going to track A, track B, the networking lounge at any time. Again, you get to choose and control your adventure. All right, let's go to the next slide so I can talk about what you can do between now and March 25th to be ready for POW. The first thing you could do is you could read the business case. We are excited to be able to offer a business case study that will be discussed, that will be managed throughout the course of the POW event. We're actually going to drop a link to it in the chat. And in addition to that, we will email it to everyone who's registered. We will share it with corporate partners who registered large groups. We will make it available on the registration attendee portal. And in the communications you'll get in the final weeks before POW, we'll include links to it as well. We think it will take you about 30 to 45 minutes to read through all 4 sections of the case. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that case in a few minutes. We'd love for you to test your technology. We don't want technology to get in the way of you having a smooth, productive, and impactful experience at POW 2025. So please test out your access to the site using the same equipment you'll use on March 25th. But please do it as soon as you get that activation email on March 18th. Join early. We will be playing music, encouraging networking, encouraging people to set up their profiles on the POW site as early as an hour before the event. So don't feel you have to wait until 11. Feel free to join us earlier in the day and start meeting and networking with other people. One of the virtual features we'd like you to set up once you have access to the platform is to set up your profile. It makes it so much easier for folks to connect with you, make smart connections, and also to network or just to follow up with you afterwards. To set up your profile is simple things like a headshot, a quick bio, and your LinkedIn profile URL is really important to plop in there as well. During breaks, you don't have to wait for official networking time. You can network whenever you want. And we would like you to minimize distractions. We know it's a work day and that you might be accessing POW through your personal computer while also having a work computer open so you get things done. We get it. We just want you to do your best to engage. Participants in the past who have attended POW have talked about how speakers are constantly dropping gems during their sessions and how the chat sessions are buzzing with participants reacting to what speakers are saying, sharing resources, asking questions, answering questions, and generally just making great professional connections. We don't want you to miss out. So to the degree to which you can focus on POW during the whole day, we really appreciate it, and we think you'll value it as well. Let's go to the next slide so I can talk about this year's case study. All right. We're excited about the addition of this year's case study to the Power of Women at Work event. The ELC uses case studies to bring real-world challenges and opportunities to life and to explore those challenges and opportunities in a collaborative environment with peer professionals and business leaders. So for POW 2025, we created a structured narrative around a fictitious company called Technologica. And we did it to provide an opportunity for POW attendees to analyze, reflect, and apply their expertise in a collaborative setting. Now, during POW, participants will have the opportunity to engage with the case study and with other attendees engaging with the case study through our session speakers and during the networking period. So the case has 4 sections, each which correspond to our 4 content pillars: business acumen, change leadership, communication, and influence. So this year's business case follows Technologica, a consumer electronics company, as it navigates a strategic shift in its smart home product line. Technologica expanded into smart home devices, but faced lower than expected sales, particularly in thermostats and smart lighting systems. So in the first section of the case, POW participants will be asked to help senior leaders at Technologica make strategic business decisions based on a SWOT analysis. Then in section 2 of the case, POW participants will focus on change leadership by helping the CEO navigate internal resistance to a critical decision. Then in section 3, POW participants will help Technologica leadership communicate that change into internal and external stakeholders. And in the 4th and final section of the case, POW participants will be introduced to a member of the Technologica product development team who has developed a great idea, but is not sure how to uplift that proposal to senior leadership. Every section of the case includes discussion questions for your consideration, and we will be asking each of our session speakers to address at least one aspect of the case. So that will give you the opportunity to compare your responses to the discussion questions to those of accomplished corporate professionals. We're really excited about this. And again, we'll drop it in the chat, but we'll be sending it out in multiple different ways to make sure everyone has access to the case in advance. Let's go to the next slide. Great. We want to maximize your POW experience with these tips we've developed based on participant feedback. The first 3 I'll group all together in terms of distractions, being focused, staying engaged. We really just want you to get the most out of your time and focus and money. And for that last bullet about checking out the features, we don't want you to feel like you're locked into one place, one session in the site. There's going to be a lot to explore, and the moderators will help you figure out how you might use your time, how you can navigate the whole platform. But we don't want you to feel like you can't roam the property, so to speak. Now, a potential general heading for all of these tips is this: the POW experience works if you work it. Now, we call it an intensive for a reason. There's a lot of content that's being shared and a lot of gems being dropped by speakers, moderators, and other participants. For example, I'm not sure what you're used to, but the chat during POW sessions is live and in full effect. And what I mean by that is, yes, we'll have designated chat warriors who are going to be in the chat, making connections between people and ideas, dropping links to resources that the speakers or moderator might mention, amplifying good points the speaker made. They'll be doing that. But time and time again, we see just the general POW participants share their experiences, answer questions posed by other participants, follow up with other chatters with private messages to connect in the networking lounge. And we don't want you to miss out on that experience. So to the degree to which you can be there and be present, please do. Let's go to the next slide, because I want to talk to you about our workshop faculty. The faculty for our career acceleration workshops are executive coaches and subject matter experts who have worked with the ELC to support the leadership development of corporate professionals. Now, the POW production team has curated these workshops as small and interactive sessions where you can really connect with other attendees while also learning strategies and tactics that will amplify your positive business impact. Now, in a few moments, I'll walk you through the various topics, and more information about POW workshops and faculty is available on our registration site. Let's go to the next slide so I can tell you about the session speakers. I could not say enough about our session speakers. These women are extraordinarily qualified corporate professionals. And even though their names might not be familiar to you, these professionals are highly regarded and recognized within their industries. And they are all ELC members. So they are currently or recently working at companies such as Clark Smith Advisors, the Dallas Mavericks, Ellery Talent Strategies, HSBC Bank, Kellanova, Marshalling Resources, Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company, Virgin Money UK, and the Whirlpool Corporation, and there are still more coming. I am so excited that our ELC members, who were always so generous with their time and expertise, will be featured speakers for POW 2025. Now I want to tell you about our main stage speaker, and the entire POW production team is excited about her, Stacey Abrams. Now, most people know Stacey Abrams from her political endeavors, where she was a Georgia state representative and a candidate for the Georgia State Governor's Office. But there's more to Stacey Abrams than just politics, and that's very much why we are excited to have her as our POW 2025 closing main stage speaker. One of the ELC's favorite authors, we use her work a lot in our programs, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, talks about the danger of single-storying people. And by that, she means that when you reduce a person or people's lived experience to a single event or single characteristic or a single role, you essentially rob them of their full dignity. Now, Stacey Abrams does not need Ramian Pierre to protect her full dignity. She has demonstrated she is more than capable of doing that herself. But I will say this. Stacey Abrams is an entrepreneur who has built a remarkably broad portfolio across nonprofit, political, and business sectors. She is a CEO of an entertainment production company. She's a published author of political thrillers, children's books, and romantic suspense novels. She's also a powerful and passionate speaker who is very generous in terms of sharing the wisdom of her experience. Again, we are excited beyond words to have Stacey. And we are also excited by her moderator, because moderating the closing main stage session will be ELC member Donna Wilson, who currently works as the Chief Operating Officer at Ka Capital Management. We are all in for a treat. Tell your friends and colleagues. Now, let's talk more about workshops. I introduced you to the faculty earlier, but let me go through the topics quickly. And actually, I will read these. Our career acceleration workshops are opportunities, again, for POW attendees to engage in smaller groups on topics that are relevant for navigating their careers while also amplifying their impact. And the faculty leading these workshops are executive coaches and subject matter experts who are incredibly experienced with working with corporate professionals. Navigating the glass cliff, thriving in high-stakes leadership roles, mastering core resilience skills to succeed without completely burning yourself out, mastering greatness, 9 steps to transforming your potential into power, time management and juggling multiple priorities. As a Black leader, what do I say when? Communicating better, the mindset and communication skills that elevate Black women leaders. Beyond disruption, how women can harness AI for transformational change. And lastly, disruptive leadership, emotional intelligence for corporate mavericks. These are our 8 career acceleration workshops that we're offering at POW. And let me tell you how you can add a workshop if you haven't done so already, even if you've already registered. Let's go to the next slide. It's not too late to add a career acceleration workshop to your POW experience. If you haven't registered for POW yet and are getting this through your company, or maybe it's forwarded to you by a peer or colleague or a mentor or mentee, you can add one workshop during the registration process. All workshops happen at the same time, so you can only attend one. We have full descriptions of all the workshops on our registration website. Now, if you have already registered for POW and you want to add a POW workshop to your registration, you can do that by logging into the registration attendee portal and then clicking on the big blue Learn More Purchase button. And from there, you'll be guided through the process. If you run into any issues at all, please email us at institute@elcinfo.com. All right, let's go to the next slide. And this is a chance for me to address your live questions. You can ask questions about things I've already mentioned that may have been unclear, or you can drop into the chat or raise your hand so we can take you off mute if you have a question about something I didn't yet address. I will warn you, as the product of Quaker Education, I'm trained to assume that silence means people are engaged and praying, not that they're ready to move on. So I'll leave you just a few more moments to let me know if you have any questions and drop them in the chat or to raise your hand. A question about the workshops. The workshops are the Career Acceleration workshops being led by our 8 different executive coaches and subject matter experts. They happen between 9:30 and 11 in the morning. And earlier in this presentation, and we'll be sharing this deck, earlier in this presentation, I listed out all of the 8 topics. I hope that helps. Are there other questions I might be able to answer? Oh, here's another one. Ooh, good question. The question is, will the workshops be recorded as well, and can they be purchased for later viewing since they all occur at the same time? Let me get back to you and everyone about that, Tiara. I'll check with the production team to confirm whether we are recording and whether we can provide access later. I really appreciate the question, and give me, well, it's late day on a Thursday. Give me until Monday noon to get back to you, and I'll find a way to communicate that to others as well. But thank you for the question. Are there any other questions I can answer before I close us out for today? All right, let me close out by doing a couple of things. Let me go through our frequently asked questions, and then I'll just say just a few parting words. So a question we often get is, when are things happening? Everything happens on Tuesday, March the 25th. Browsers to use. Chrome is highly preferred, and we want you to turn off your VPN. Can you access Hubelo on your mobile device? Yes, but the participant feedback that we received shown it's not an optimal experience, so we really encourage you to use a laptop or a desktop computer. Are workshops included with POW? No, you have to purchase them separately at the time of registration because they're optional. And I shared those instructions earlier, but again, if you need them, I'm happy to provide them if you email institute@elcinfo.com. Can you join more than one POW session? Yes and no. So there are always 2 POW sessions happening at all times, except for the closing main stage, and you're gonna have to choose between those 2 sessions. But again, since we're recording all of those sessions, you can come back and watch the session you missed or rewatch the session you attended for up to 30 days after the event. And there's no limit on how many times you come back. You can come back as many times as you want. Tech support. We'll provide other options, but presently, if you need any tech support before the event or during the event, use the Institute inbox, which will be constantly monitored. That's institute@elcinfo.com. Let's go to the next page of FAQs. The registration deadline. So if you're here, you're registered, most likely. But if you know of a colleague, a mentor, a mentee who might benefit from attending POW, please share the registration information with them and encourage them to register by Friday, March the 14th. That way, we're sure they get all the pre-POW preparatory communications. We can take registrations later, but we prefer if everyone can register by the 14th. What to wear? We just want you to be comfortable. Will sessions be recorded? Yes, and you'll have access to them for up to 30 days after POW ends. And will you have the opportunity to make connections? Yes. We will have a curated networking session where we'll guide you through that process. More on that in the weeks just before POW. But But our team has seen that so many of the beneficial connections that happen during POW happen through the chat, or they start through the chat. And then people follow up with an impromptu meeting, or maybe invite each other to go to the networking lounge, grab a table and talk there. So don't think that you only network during the official networking time. Please use the whole experience to make connections with other people. And to support that, we really encourage you to fill out your profile once you have access to the platform. That way, people know who they're connecting to, and they know more about you when you request connections. And it makes it easier and more likely that there'll be smart connections as opposed to frivolous ones. All right, let's go to the last few slides. The Power of Women at Work, POW, is just one of the ELC's leadership development programs. If you go to our website, www.elcinfo.com, and navigate to our programs and events section, you'll see all information about all of our leadership development programs. We have a leadership development program for every level of corporate professional. Let's go to the next slide. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have questions about POW. If you have questions about the ELC, you want to learn more about the work that we do for individuals and their organizations. And please, please, please save our email address, institute@elcinfo.com. With that, I'd like production to stop sharing slides for just a second, because I'd love to see people, although I'm seeing names, but I know there are people behind those names. I just want to close by saying this. On behalf of the entire team working to make POW 2025 a relevant, impactful, and enjoyable experience, I want to say that we are very much looking forward to seeing you and your colleagues on March 25th. I hope this Know Before You Go session has been worth your time and attention. Please take care and have a great day.